Number 15, Baby in the Road. Have you ever driven for hours at night, hours and hours of a stretch of road, and for a moment thought you were seeing things? Mike Hubbard, a bus driver in San Antonio, Texas, surely thought he was when he came across a 14-month-old baby smack in the center of his driving route. It's a miracle he noticed the lost child, as it was dark and late at night. Luckily, he was alert enough to spot her just in time to hit the brakes. He came to a halt just feet from Destiny floors. The entire event was caught on the bus's security cameras. It also caught Hubbard jumping out of the bus and racing towards the baby, but just moments later, the baby's father ran up and grabbed Destiny. Then he left without even so much as a thank you to the driver. While Destiny's mother, Catherine Gonzalez, claims that their front door was left open and they thought they'd locked the screen door. She told WOAI News that perhaps the baby had managed to sneak out, but it was entirely accidental. Whether accidental or not, the baby's parents were investigated by Protective Services for child negligence. Number 14, Protective Shield. When passengers attack bus drivers, the fear is real. According to statistics covering the past 3 years, 4 bus drivers a day are attacked by passengers in London alone, totaling 4,967 reported attacks over 3 years. This CCTV video has captured one of these incidents as a male passenger repeatedly strikes at the driver's protective shield on the Route 29 bus in London. The driver had just told him he didn't have the right fare, resulting in the man going crazy all over the screen. He then disembarks, heads to the wing mirror of the bus, breaks it off, and returns to the protective screen to attempt to break through it again. He smashes the screen over and over with the wing mirror, but thankfully it doesn't break. These incidents on public transport has led to TfL and other transport operations around the world installing protective screens like this one on public buses. The problem is, sometimes that doesn't prevent aggression from injecting fear into a driver's day. Considering this video, nothing will stop aggressive passengers from trying to get a free ride. Number 13, Twister.
Everybody get to the middle on the back.
Tornado winds move as fast as 302 miles per hour or 486 kilometers per hour. Apart from our film experience of tornadoes, it's hard to imagine being inside of one of these horrific things, but video on a school bus in Henryville, Indiana, managed to record just that during a terrifying tornado. On March 2nd, 2012, the school bus had been evacuated and the children and driver were brought to safety before this wicked twister swept the bus up, tore it apart, threw it through the air, and flung it into a nearby building. At the beginning of the video, the bus is fully intact, but by the end, after the twister has had its way with it, the thing is completely obliterated, destroyed beyond recognition. Debris within the school bus is taken with the rapid winds and twists and turns inside the vehicle. Then the pressure of the wind smash the windows to smithereens and tear up the frame of the bus before discarding it. Along with all the other structures it's destroyed in its path. This tornado was not the only one to terrorize Henryville and the surrounding area. The region between the Great Lakes and Gulf Coast saw 28 people pass away as a result of the tornado over the course of a single week. Number 12, Tipsy Bus Driver.
Don't start going up. Stop, please, go. Put on the brakes! Guys, stop!
A bus driver in Alfred, New York was accused of drinking and driving and was given a 90-day jail sentence. The event was caught on camera after 56-year-old Martha Thompson was ordered by students to stop operating the bus, an order that was ignored. There were 37 students on the bus after Thompson took them at a 70-mile-per-hour clip through their journey, hit a mailbox, and even started rolling backwards down a hill, as can be seen in the video. The older students tried to convince Thompson to stop, but she was defiant. They kept insisting that she was not okay and should turn off the vehicle. When she continued to refuse, they accused her of scaring the small children on the bus, which she was. When she also refused to open the door, the older kids took matters into their own hands and began shepherding the students out the back door emergency exit, while Thompson repeatedly shouted, "You can't get off the bus." Thompson's defense attorney said she never ever would intentionally put any of those children in any type of risk. The fact that my client has no criminal history. No one was injured, but this has been a really good thing because it's turned her life around, and now she's getting the help that she needs. While it's all very well and good that the driver is getting help, her blood alcohol level was 0.15. The DMV notes a BAC of 0.04 for commercial drivers can result in a DUI or DWI conviction nationwide. She's incredibly lucky that no children were harmed in this incident of negligence. Number 11. The flood.
No, we're setting right now, but the water keeps going inside the boat.
While it might cause some to sing in the rain, rainfall is not always pleasant. In fact, sometimes it can be deadly, like when it turns a gentle creek into a roaring river, as it did on this occasion in 2001. At Childress Creek near Waco, Texas, when a school bus attempted to cross the now dangerous creek, it got caught in the middle of the flooded waters. What's worse is that it had 3 children inside. In a recorded call to police, the dispatcher asks the bus driver if the bus was still moving. The driver replies that no, the bus is now still, but water is entering at a rapid rate. Footage from above shows that the bus was captured by the current and carried a distance downstream, where it eventually came to a halt, but the flood was broad and there seemed to be no way out. After a 30-minute wait, a Black Hawk rescue helicopter came to the aid of the driver and the 3 children. A couple attempts of dropping the rescuer into the top of the bus ended unsuccessfully as the winds were strong, but after a while, the rescuer, Private Brent Town, was finally able to grab hold of a rope and position himself atop the bus when he managed to attach the first child to his rope. The helicopter got swept up in some wind that pulled them over to nearby trees. The rescuer and child were caught in the branches, but the rescuer managed to clear them again. After returning the child to safety, he returned for a second child, all the while with the fear that the bus could be swept away by the strong currents at any moment. But luckily, it remained in place as the third child was airlifted out, after which the bus driver was saved. The whole incident lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of fear that they might not escape, but with the help and stealth of the Black Hawk rescue crew, they lived to tell the tale. Number 10. Woman possessed. It turns out public buses are rife with incidents of alleged possessed people. This one turned up in San Luis, Argentina on June 7th, 2016. A woman sits with her eyes closed, her head rolling around at random, and her mouth opening and closing. She is jerking all over, not once opening her eyes, and a terrible sound is heard at times coming from her mouth. What she is saying, if anything, is indiscernible. She continues jerking around, looking quite possessed, until a man walks forward and shakes her shoulder, attempting to bring her back around. The man says something to her, and she shouts back in her scratchy, possessed voice. He places his hand on her forehead, and that's where the footage ends. Was he attempting an exorcism? Was he doing something more sinister? It seems we'll never know. Number 9. Paranormal Bus. This bus footage in the north of Bogota alleged to show paranormal activity. In the footage, a yellow bus is parked in front of some houses on a hill. The driver is outside of the bus when it starts to reverse. Well, this event could be easily explained had the bus started moving forward or downhill, as then it would simply be a case of not putting the bus in park. The bus actually starts moving backwards, rolling uphill on a slope. It appears to be reversing all on its own, while a dog barks off to the side, perhaps alert to the paranormal activity happening right before its very eyes. The bus continues to reverse with no one in the driver's seat. In fact, it reverses so far that it ends up in a garden several meters behind where it was originally parked. Hearing the commotion from the two dogs who were paying special attention to the bus, a driver runs out and races across the street to try and stop it. The footage then shows a crowd gathering around the bus, likely trying to determine what happened. What did happen? Could this have been a paranormal event? All we know is that it can't be explained. Number 8. Railroad crossing. If you've ever been near a railroad crossing when a train flies through, you'll know one thing: you would never want to be caught on those tracks when they're in use. But that almost happened when a school bus in Hardwood, North Dakota got stuck beneath a crossing arm. In the video, you can see a train sweeping through the railroad intersection, appearing as normal, but once it's flown by, nothing is normal about this video. There it is, the bus stalled, with the crossing arm just leaning on it, while the red railroad lights flash, signaling not to cross. Luckily, the nose of the bus was not jutting out too far over the tracks. It was also not stuck there for long, as the crossing arms lifted to release the school bus, allowing it to return to normalcy. The whole event was caught on a cell phone. According to reports, the driver approached the tracks and came to a stop, following the law, but the moment the driver started moving again, so did the crossing arms. They descended, and the bus filled with children was stuck with its nose in the railroad intersection. North Dakota state law requires that buses stop anywhere from 15 to 50 feet from the rail. But due to the snow-packed roads, the substitute driver couldn't make out where the rail was. The driver wasn't charged for the incident, which could have ended in devastation. Number 7. Clowning around. The creepy clowns are at it again. I swear there must be one clown in every video, and they're always frightening. This particular Pennywise was captured taking a free ride on the back of a Detroit bus. This incident, of course, occurred during the creepy clown epidemic of 2016. One of these sightings involved a person dressed up as a clown. The wannabe clown terrified bus riders as they spotted the maniac hanging onto the back of the bus. Attempting to break in, he's trying to get into the bus. Michelle McKinley told WDIV he's trying to get inside to do something to the bus driver and everyone else on the bus. The entire thing was caught on film, as someone in a neighboring vehicle took footage of the event and posted it online. Not your everyday commute. Number 6. Choking incident.
What are you doing? He's got a coin. He's got a coin? Oh my lord, are you serious?
There are superheroes and then there are everyday heroes. Who knows, this bus driver may be both, when 6-year-old Cameron started choking on a coin. On a Manford public school bus, the school bus driver, Ginger Maxville, sprang into action. Maxville, who assistant teaches special needs at Manford Public School, told KTUL-TV, "I thought he was just teasing me, and I thought he was just not following my instructions and not sitting down." But soon the boy's sister said that he likely swallowed a coin, and Maxville saw that he was gasping and his face was beet red. She pulled over, ensured that the bus was secure, jumped from the driver's seat, pulled the young boy into the aisle of the bus, and began to give him the Heimlich, pressing into his abdomen. This was the very first time she'd been forced to use the Heimlich during her career, which spanned 17 odd years. In short, Cameron coughed up the coin he'd been choking on, and it fell to the ground. The entire incident was caught on the school bus's surveillance video. The boy requested that he keep the coin that he'd choked on, and Maxville allowed it, that is, if he promised not to put it in his mouth again. Robin Jansen, the boy's mother, called Maxville an angel, and said Cameron was back to his happy self again. A bus incident that could have ended so horribly had a hero not been on the bus with Cameron that day. Number 5. Himachal Pradesh, India. State-run buses that run through Himachal Road Transport Corporation, or HRTC, are known to have some of the most treacherous bus routes in the world. Unpaved, muddy, and wet roads are just the beginning. There's also the landscape, mountainous and threatening. Here's just one of those routes, captured on camera. On the route Manali to Kannur, the ride is slow going as the roads are wobbly trenches in the mud. In this video, you see a train of buses precariously rocking back and forth as they meander alongside tall piles of snow, rugged mountains towering in the background. The large buses don't look so much like they're driving, rather they look like they're hopping. The cravats in the muddy road are assumingly frozen over, resulting in a jackhammer of a ride. And while the cliff edge on the right hand side of the buses don't appear to be a clear drop off, it's safe to say that one small overcorrection in the mud could potentially send a bus rolling down the mountain. I'm going to play it safe and steer clear of those routes. Number 4. Supernatural powers.
ก็วิ่งกันอย่างเงี้ยน้องไม่เคยนั่งรถเมล์เหรอไอ้ทำไร
Ever wish you had supernatural powers? Well, this video supposedly shows a Thai girl who discovered she did. When she was driven to anger at a bus stop, the video, shot in Thailand, begins with a girl smack-talking someone as she leaves the bus. She is being held back by a friend who remains quiet. The girl continues to point and exchange some heated words with the driver, who steps down from his post to return fire. Spectators watch from the ground, and others hang out of windows to witness the exchange. The shouting match continues in Thai with plenty of pointing and aggression. Another guy tries to intervene. He shouts at the girl and goes to slap her, but before he can, he is thrown back by a supernatural force. The spectators scream. The origin of this force seems to not be the shouting girl, but her silent friend who stood behind her. The quiet girl then steps forward and points her hand out, palm forward, and the bus driver flies up the side of the bus before dropping to the ground. The girl looks at her hands in amazement, as though this is the first time she's realized she has these scary supernatural powers. Everyone is quiet and staring at the girl. She turns in a circle, puts her hands out again, and a table and chairs fly backward. The bus driver yells at her, and she makes him fly into the air again, and even her friend backed away and won't come near her. The video ends with the girl looking down at her hands, collapsing to the ground, shaking and screaming shrilly, while the footage appears all too real, with no strings attached. Many in the YouTube comments call it out as a fake. YouTuber Pei Pina says, "I'm Thai, and Thai people like to make dramas with superpowers like this." While Jacob Zamet notes, the biggest flaw in this video is the fact that no one else is talking while the argument progresses, letting the main characters in this film be heard as the girl and the guy take turns. He also notes that video cameras or cell phones with video components, and it's unlikely that someone who just levitated would have another go at the person who just did it. All good points. Still a scary and intriguing video. You kind of wish it was real. Number 3, Needles Highway. Ever tried to poke a thread through the eye of a needle? Well, that's basically what bus drivers do on Needles Highway in South Dakota. This video is not for the claustrophobic. Highway 87 near Rapid City, South Dakota, and Custer State Park earned its nickname due to its narrow single-lane roads, deadly defying twists and turns, and of course the needles, which are narrow granite tunnels that vehicles navigate. That is, if their drivers have got the guts. The tunnels were created by blasting through mountains, forming walls of sheer rock on either side. Believe it or not, some buses attempt the crazy feat of driving their big hauls through the narrow tunnels. These drivers show no fear as they prepare to undertake a Mission Impossible level task of weaving down this dangerous road while also looking out for falling rocks. Just watching makes you hold your breath in anticipation. But never fear, slowly but surely, this particular driver succeeded with only inches of room to spare on either side of the tunnel. Number 2, Possessed Again. Public transportation can often be frightening, surrounded by strangers in a confined area. Where else are you more vulnerable? This footage shows just how vulnerable we are on public transport. A woman dressed in black is captured on video riding public transportation in Edmonton. She appears to be trying to get comfortable enough to sleep when suddenly she starts yanking on her long chain necklace, wrapping it around her neck with her eyes still closed. Then she sits up, feet on the floor, hands on the seat, head down, hair in front of her face. She pushes the hair out of her face, takes her necklace off, drops it on the floor, and moves over as other passengers board at Central Station. Cut to a moment later, she appears normal. She looks in her red bag, pulls out what appears to be her phone for a moment, then she puts it back in her bag. That's when things get freaky. Her eyes go wide, her jaw goes rigid, and she starts to look like she's possessed by a demon. She grits her teeth, opens and closes her jaw, leans her head back, puts both hands in her hair, and roars at fellow passengers. Suddenly, she launches at a man who's sitting beside her and grabs him by the throat. She starts attacking. After the assault, she walks to the subway door as though nothing happened to wait calmly for her stop, but the man she just attacked retaliates. Despite the person who's filming suggesting she's probably possessed, the camera pulls away as the filmer tells someone to call security, but it seems they're already aware. Security arrives and pulls the guy to the ground as the female attacker simply collapses. The video leaves us with the question of whether this lady was on something or actually momentarily possessed by a demon. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. I'm currently doing a super poll on my Instagram. If you believe ghosts are real, then go to my most recent photo and tap the like button. If you don't, DM me saying why. When you're done, come right back to this video to find out the number 1 entry. Chills merch is now available, and I'm gifting viewers who spend over $100 with a 100% free Foot Lettuce t-shirt to show my appreciation. This offer won't last forever, so get yours by visiting chillsmerch.com. Also, follow me on Twitter at YT_chills because that's where I post video updates. It's a proven fact that generosity makes you a happier person, so if you're generous enough to hit that subscribe button and the bell beside it, then thank you. This way, you'll be notified of the new videos we upload every Tuesday and Saturday. Number 1. Road of Fate. The Camino de la Muerte, or Road of Fate, lies in Bolivia along a 50-mile rocky narrow downhill road. The pass is so dangerous that the Inter-American Development Bank deemed it the most dangerous in the world in 1995. Somewhere between 200 to 300 people perish each year on this road. In this video, a bus driver attempts to traverse it to his own detriment. The road, which had recently suffered heavy rain, was prone to landslides, making the crossing even riskier business than usual. After ordering his passengers off the bus for safety's sake, they watch in terror as the driver attempts to creep across a very shaky and crumbling stretch of sand and rock, one that should not be crossed. The passengers attempt to help guide him, with one man in the video moving forward to motion that the driver move further away from the edge. It appears as if the bus will be successful in completing this crossing, but suddenly the ground crumbles beneath it and the bus tips, falling over the cliff, through the trees and down the mountain. While it's fortunate that the 50 passengers survived their devastating journey, sadly their driver did not. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!